Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Both finishing in the top 12 in fantasy last year. How often, let's just reflect on that real quick. How often do you actually see two running backs of the same team technically both finish as RB1s?
Very rare, extremely rare.
It was just, that was how good, to your point, I think the offensive line might have gotten even a little bit better. We know Nick Chubb missed a few games last year. It was just incredible what these two were able to do. And here's the point I want to make, too. A lot of people are trying to hype on, or not hype on, but drive down Kareem Hunt as if you shouldn't be taking him in the top 5 rounds. 100% you should be. Even when Nick Chubb is on the field, he's a flex play. He's an RB3, a high-end RB3 at that. At worst, with Nick Chubb on the field, he gets the majority of the passing work. That's not going to go away this year. Think it's going to change? They both get their series to do their thing. Here's the rotation of a Kareem Hunt and a Nick Chubb when both on the field. Nick Chubb gets more carries. He gets the goal line carries. But Kareem Hunt gets about 40% of the carries himself. He gets about 70% of the targets. He's an RB2, even with Nick Chubb on the field. You can get him as a flex, as an RB3. I love me Kareem Hunt again this season because for some reason, people have it in their minds that he only got to the height that he did last year because Nick Chubb got hurt. That's not the case. That's not the case. And another example of people not actually doing their research if you're hearing that from them.
Well, I'm going to struggle with this one because I'm not as big on Kareem Hunt. Because I understand the numbers from last year. I actually think Kareem Hunt's being drafted too high right now, and I think his ADP is a little higher than I would prefer. I think Kareem Hunt's definitely a flex play. I think he's definitely an option that you like to have out there, but I don't necessarily feel like he's going to be as featured as he was last year. And I think part of that's because I believe in the receivers a bit more this year and being utilized a lot more, where I think Kareem Hunt maybe suffers as a result of that. But if you go on an argument that offense is going to be exactly what it was last year, then I can't debate. I think Kareem Hunt could be just as effective. I just kind of think this offense is continue to evolve, and they're going to need the receivers because receivers were basically putrid last year. So I think they depended on the running backs for everything. And I think that's where it's going to maybe a little bit of a change, but maybe not. But for me right now, Kareem Hunt's a little too rich for my blood.
With Nick Chubb last year from weeks 1 through 3, Kareem Hunt was still an RB12 with a healthy Nick Chubb, getting over 40% of the carries, getting over 70% of the targets. With Nick Chubb out from weeks 5 to 8, RB10. Didn't change that much. Again with Nick Chubb, weeks 9 through 17, the rest of the way, RB19. Chubb started to get more of the carries, but he still maintained a 75% of the work share when it comes to the targets. I do not see a significant change when it comes to the usage between Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb at all, period. All of that adds up to Kareem Hunt is an RB2, even with Nick Chubb. Now, the reason I'm harping on the Kareem Hunt side of this thing is because Nick Chubb's an RB1. I don't think there's any argument to be had there one way or another. He is an RB1. He is a top 10 running back. He is a superstar. And if Kareem Hunt were to get hurt himself, or if Nick Chubb were ever to take over a full workload, he would be a top 3 running back. We know Nick Chubb is fantastic. We know he's going to be great. He was RB7 last year. He didn't even play a full season. That's how great he was. So both of them, at the end of the day, you want them both on your team. If Kareem Hunt's going to be a guy who goes in the 5th round, you run and draft him at that. Because, again, you still have the upside of if something happens to Chubb, you got an RB1 bona fide on your hands.
Well, I think Nick Chubb is definitely number 1 running back, and I think he's definitely a first-round talent that I wouldn't dare dispute. Like I said, I think Kareem Hunt in 5th round is a little rich for my blood, but I can't argue if you're really strong and you only want him. I just love Nick Chubb. I love his offensive game. I think that he's continued to be blossom in this offense. People kind of doubt him and doubt his production fantasy-wise because he doesn't catch the ball or isn't involved in the passing game as much. Then there's Derrick Henry. So it doesn't really matter whether or not you're necessarily catching the ball all the time. It matters, are you effective in the red zone and do you get big plays? Nick Chubb consistently gets big plays. He averages almost 5 yards per carry, and he's a big back on top of that. So when you have a guy that combination of speed, strength, and ability, I think that you basically have a true number 1 running back, and you can't pass on him. He's the guy that I kind of feel like people might overlook in the 1st round, and they shouldn't.